Welcome to MyEnglishPodcast.
Learn, practice, and speak with confidence. Hey everyone, welcome back to My English Podcast. I'm Nia, and it's so nice to have you with us today. I think today's topic is going to help a lot of people feel more relaxed and more confident when they speak English.
And I'm Max. I've been looking forward to this one too. It's something we all wish we knew earlier. How to sound more natural in English without spending years memorizing grammar. If that sounds like something you've been struggling with, don't worry. You're not alone, and this episode is for you.
We know how frustrating it can feel when you know the rules in your head, but your words just don't come out smoothly. You pause too much, you worry about making mistakes, and the sentence you were trying to say just disappears. It can really make you feel stuck.
But the truth is, you don't need to master every grammar rule to speak naturally. Native English speakers mess up grammar all the time, and they still communicate just fine. It's more about using the right phrases, building rhythm, and sounding like you're part of the conversation.
That's such an important mindset shift. Instead of aiming for perfect grammar, aim for natural connection. That's what we're diving into today. And to help us do that, we're joined by someone who really understands how language works. Our friend and expert, Mrs. Tina.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be part of this conversation. What you just said is so true, Mia. So many learners feel like they have to wait until they've memorized hundreds of grammar rules before they can speak. But language isn't a math test. It's about expression. And the sooner you start using it naturally, the faster it becomes comfortable.
I remember when I was learning Spanish, I kept reading grammar books, but when I finally traveled to a Spanish-speaking country, I realized I couldn't even order food without panicking. But when I started listening more and copying how people spoke, things started to click.
I've had the same experience with French. It wasn't until I started watching real conversations like YouTube vlogs and casual interviews that I realized how different real spoken language is compared to what's in textbooks. People cut words, use little phrases, and speak with a rhythm. It's like a song.
That's a great way to describe it. Language has rhythm.
And when you're trying to speak like a native, the key is to focus on that rhythm, those everyday phrases, and the tone people use. For example, instead of saying, "I do not know," a native speaker would usually say, "I don't know," or even "dunno" in casual settings. These little changes make your English sound relaxed and real.
That's the difference between sounding like a textbook and sounding like someone people want to talk to. I used to say, "I am going to the supermarket," and then I heard someone say, "I'm headed to the store." Same meaning, but the second one just flows better. It sounds friendlier and more natural.
Yeah! Like, "Do you want to have lunch with me?" turns into, "Want to grab lunch?" So simple, right?
Those are perfect examples. It's not that full sentences are wrong. It's just that everyday English shortens things. It's like the language relaxes. And when you learn to copy those relaxed phrases, you don't need to worry so much about being perfect. You just start blending in more naturally.
It also takes away so much pressure. Instead of thinking about subject-verb agreement or tenses, you just use the phrases you hear in real conversations. It's like collecting useful tools.
And that's what we want to help our listeners do, collect those tools. Everyday expressions that work in so many situations. Like, "I'm not sure, let me check." "Sounds good, no worries." These tiny phrases are everywhere, and they carry so much meaning with so little effort.
Exactly.
And they give you confidence. Once you start using them, you feel like you belong in the language. You're no longer translating in your head, you're communicating.
That reminds me of something you told us once. You said fluency isn't about knowing everything. It's about being able to keep the conversation moving.
Yes, I truly believe that. Fluency means being able to respond, ask, agree, disagree, all without freezing up. And that doesn't come from grammar drills. It comes from hearing, copying, and using the language the way it's spoken every day. So if someone's listening right now and thinking, "Okay, I want to sound more natural, but where do I even begin?" What would you say to them?
I'd say start with listening.
Not just any listening, listen to real conversations. Find a podcast like this one, or watch a casual interview, or even a vlog. Don't focus on understanding every word. Just notice how people speak. How do they start sentences? How do they end them? How do they agree or show surprise?
And after listening, the next step is what? Repeat.
Yes, repeat. Out loud. Even if you're not sure what every word means, just say it. Try to copy the tone, the speed, the pauses. This is called shadowing. And it's one of the most powerful ways to build natural fluency.
I've done that. I used to watch scenes from TV shows and repeat the lines. I wasn't trying to translate, I was just copying how the actors spoke. And it made such a big difference.
Me too. I remember watching Friends and repeating Chandler's lines just for fun. I wasn't thinking about grammar. I was thinking about how he said things. And it helped me so much.
That's the magic. It's fun, it's simple, and it works. And the more you do it, the more these phrases become part of you. You stop translating in your head. You just speak.
I think that's when things really change. When you stop trying to speak correct English and start trying to speak real English.
That's a great way to put it. And it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. What matters is that you keep going, keep listening, and keep using the language.
That's so important. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. What matters is confidence, not perfection. If you say something a little off, people still understand. And you learn from it.
And there's so much you can do in just 5 minutes a day. You don't need hours. Listen to a short clip, repeat the lines, and try to use one phrase in your next conversation.
I love that idea. Pick one phrase a day. Like today, maybe it's no worries. Try to use it when someone apologizes or when something doesn't go as planned.
Or sounds good. It's friendly, easy to use, and fits almost any situation. Someone says, "Let's meet at 5," and you say, "Sounds good." You've just spoken like a native.
And there's a feeling that comes with it, right? When your English feels natural, you feel more relaxed, like you're not trying so hard anymore. You're just being yourself in English.
That's the goal. Not to become someone else, but to be yourself comfortably in another language.
That's a beautiful way to say it. And I hope everyone listening knows you already have what it takes. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be brave, be curious, and be consistent.
We're right here with you. Learning a language isn't about getting it right on day one. It's about growing every day. And the best part is, you're already doing it.
Absolutely. Every time you listen, speak, or even try, you're building something. And that's worth celebrating.
So let's keep going. In the next part of our conversation, we'll explore more natural phrases and talk about how small daily habits can completely change how you speak English. But for now, just remember this: speak often, listen more, and let the language flow.
I think one of the best ways to start sounding natural is to really focus on the little things, not big vocabulary or complex grammar, but small phrases that native speakers use all the time without even thinking.
Yes! Like when someone says, "You good?" instead of, "Are you okay?" Or, "I'm all set," instead of, "I have everything I need." These phrases might seem small, but they completely change how you sound to others.
That's a great observation. These tiny expressions are like secret keys. They open doors to fluent conversations. And they're not hard to learn. You've probably heard them before in TV shows or from native speakers. You just need to start noticing them.
Sometimes I think of them like spices. You can cook with just salt and pepper, and it's fine. But when you add garlic, chili, or lemon, it becomes a real dish. That's what natural phrases do for your English.
I love that. It's such a fun way to think about it. English without natural expressions can feel flat. But add those little phrases, and suddenly it's full of flavor.
That's a perfect metaphor. And here's something interesting. Even native speakers often use the same phrases again and again. It's not about always using new words. It's about using familiar ones in the right places. For example, when someone asks how your weekend was, most people don't say, "My weekend was enjoyable and fulfilling." They just say, "It was good," or "not bad," or "pretty chill."
Pretty chill. I hear that a lot. And at first I didn't know what it meant. But now I use it too. And people always smile because it sounds real. Not like something from a textbook.
And it feels good, right? When you say something and the other person reacts naturally, it builds your confidence. You feel like you're really part of the conversation.
Exactly. And confidence is what leads to fluency. Not grammar. Not vocabulary. Confidence.
Can we maybe go through a few of these everyday phrases? Like a little collection of useful ones our listeners can pick up?
That's a great idea. Okay, let's start with greetings. A lot of learners stick to hello or how are you? But what do native speakers say?
One very common one is, "Hey, how's it going?" It's super casual and friendly.
Or even just, "Hey, what's up?" That one is more relaxed. And you can answer with something like, "Not much," or "All good."
And sometimes people don't even say a full greeting. They just go, "Hey," with a smile, and that's enough. It's all in the tone.
Yes, tone is everything. You can say "hey" in a flat voice and it sounds cold. But with a little warmth, a little rise in your voice, it's welcoming.
I've noticed that too. It's not always what you say, it's how you say it. Like when someone says, "Thanks, man," with a smile, it feels friendly. But if someone says, "Thank you," very stiffly, it can feel too formal.
That brings us to another great one, ways to say thank you. What are some casual and natural ways?
Thanks a lot, thanks so much, appreciate it, or even just thanks. With the right tone. One of my favorites is, "I really appreciate it." It feels genuine and kind.
I like, "You're the best," when someone does something nice for me.
Or "I owe you one." That's another fun one. It's like saying, "I'll return the favor."
See, these are the phrases that make conversations feel warm. They're not complicated. They're short, natural, and full of emotion.
What about apologizing? A lot of learners only say, "I'm sorry." But there are other ways, right?
Definitely. You can say "my bad," which is very casual. Or, "Sorry about that. Didn't mean to. Hope that's okay." And when someone apologizes to you, instead of saying "it's okay," you can say "no worries" or "all good."
I love "no worries." It's such a kind and relaxed phrase. I use it all the time.
Me too. And even if I'm secretly a little annoyed, saying "no worries" just softens the moment.
That's the power of language. It helps manage emotions, relationships, and daily life. And once you learn these small tools, they become part of your voice.
Let's talk about ending conversations. I've noticed a lot of learners feel awkward about how to say goodbye naturally.
True. They'll say, "Okay, goodbye," which is fine, but it can feel a bit stiff.
Yes, native speakers usually say things like, "talk to you later," or "catch you soon," or even "see ya."
And if it's at work, you might say, "All right, I'll let you go," or "I'll talk to you tomorrow."
Sometimes I just say, "Cool, take care." And people love that. It's friendly and warm.
That's a great one. And here's another trick. Pair your goodbye with a smile, even if no one can see you. When you smile, your voice changes. It sounds more open.
That's such a good tip. Smiling changes the way you speak, even over the phone or on a podcast.
Speaking of tips, what about everyday responses? Like when someone gives you good news, what's a natural way to react?
Oh, I love this one. You can say, "That's awesome," or "No way, that's amazing," or even, "Good for you."
Or if you're surprised, you might say, "Seriously?" Or "You're kidding." Or "Wow, that's wild."
That's wild. I love that one. It works for anything unexpected.
These expressions really carry emotion, and they help you sound excited, interested, or surprised in a natural way.
Exactly. And the great thing is, you don't need to study them. Just start using them. One at a time. Let them become yours.
That's such good advice. Just try one phrase each day. Say it a few times. Practice it when you're alone. Use it when texting a friend. Slowly, it becomes natural.
I used to write down a phrase on a sticky note and put it on my desk. That way, I'd see it all day and remember to use it.
That's a lovely method. And you can even say it to yourself in the mirror. Sounds good. No worries. Catch you later. It may feel silly at first, but your brain gets used to it.
I also recommend recording yourself. Just open your phone and say a few phrases. Then listen. Do you sound relaxed? Too fast? Too flat? It's a great way to self-check.
And if you feel shy, don't worry. No one has to hear it. It's just for you.
That's the beauty of learning on your own. You're free to try, to mess up, and to grow.
And one day, you'll say something like, "Wanna grab coffee?" And the person next to you will smile and say, "Sure." And you'll realize you sounded just like a native.
That moment is magic. And it's possible for everyone. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need real practice, gentle confidence, and a few good phrases.
Keep listening, keep copying, and let English become part of how you express yourself. It's not about changing who you are, it's about giving your voice another way to speak.
This is exactly why I love doing this podcast. We're not just teaching English, we're helping people feel free in a new language.
And that's something worth celebrating. No pressure, no perfection. Just one step at a time.
You know, when learners finally let go of the idea that they have to be perfect, something amazing happens. They begin to enjoy English. It stops being a subject and starts becoming something they live with.
That's so true. I remember when I stopped worrying about grammar and started listening to real conversations, things just started clicking. It wasn't about knowing everything. It was about feeling connected.
Yes, and I think that feeling of connection is what everyone is really searching for. It's not just about saying the right words. It's about being able to share a joke, understand a story, or comfort someone using English. That's the real goal.
And that's why I always say, fall in love with the language. Don't treat it like a chore. Watch movies you enjoy. Listen to music that moves you. Read things that make you laugh or think. That's how you build a bond with English.
That's so powerful. And it reminds me, when I first started learning English, I only watched cartoons. I didn't understand every word, but I loved the voices, the energy, and the silly jokes. Without even knowing it, I was learning rhythm, tone, and structure.
I did something similar. I would watch cooking shows in English. The way they spoke was so calm and clear, I wasn't even trying to study. But slowly, I started picking up phrases like, a pinch of salt, or go ahead and stir it in.
See, that's the secret. The more relaxed and natural your learning environment is, the more your brain absorbs. When you're enjoying something, your memory improves. You're not forcing the language, you're welcoming it.
And that brings me to another tip I've found really useful. Thinking in English. I used to translate everything in my head before speaking. It slowed me down so much. But when I started thinking simple thoughts in English, it helped me speak faster and more smoothly.
Yes, like instead of thinking, I am hungry, what should I eat, in your own language and then translating it, you just think in English directly, I'm hungry, maybe a sandwich? Even small thoughts help.
I tell my students this all the time. Start small. Look around your room and name objects in English. That's my chair. Here's the window. I see a blue pen. Talk to yourself in your mind. Over time, your inner voice becomes bilingual.
And once your inner voice is in English, speaking out loud becomes easier. It's like you're already halfway there.
I also think practicing with yourself out loud is underrated. You don't always need a partner. You can describe what you're doing, like, okay, now I'm making tea, I'll grab a cup. Where's the sugar? It may feel funny at first, but it really works.
Absolutely. Speaking is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the less awkward it feels. You start to trust your voice more.
Trust is a big word here. Many learners don't trust their English voice. They second guess every sentence. But if you let go of that fear, even a little, you'll make progress much faster.
It's like learning to ride a bike. You wobble, you fall, but you don't quit. And before you know it, you're riding without thinking about balance. That's what speaking English can feel like too.
The fear of making mistakes is often what holds people back. But mistakes are proof that you're trying. In fact, they help you grow. I always tell my students, if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning.
And most people won't even notice your mistakes. They'll just appreciate that you're trying. In fact, when someone speaks to me in English and it's not perfect, I still feel happy they're making the effort.
Yes, and if you're kind, warm, and clear, people will always respond positively, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Language is about connection, not correctness.
That's the golden rule. And let's not forget, there are many different types of English. British English, American English, Australian English, they all use different expressions. So there's no one perfect way.
That's a relief, honestly, because it means there's space for your own style. You don't need to sound exactly like someone else. You can have your own voice in English.
That's such a freeing idea. Your English doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours.
And once you find joy in using it, everything changes. You become more open, more curious, and more willing to try new things.
You also start noticing things you never saw before. Like you hear someone say, "Hang on a sec," and you realize that means wait a moment. Or someone says, "I'm beat," and you learn that means I'm really tired.
And those little moments become your lessons. Not from a teacher, but from life itself. You're constantly learning.
Which is why I recommend keeping a tiny notebook or a note on your phone. Whenever you hear a phrase you like, write it down. Later, try using it. Make it yours.
I still do that. I have a note in my phone titled Cool English Phrases. It's full of stuff like I'm all ears. Let's play it by ear. No big deal. It slipped my mind.
That's so helpful, because the moment you write something down, your brain says, okay, this is important. And when you use it in a real conversation, it sticks.
Repetition is the secret ingredient. Not just hearing it once, but hearing, repeating, and using it. That's how phrases move from short-term memory to long-term habit.
Speaking of repetition, I have a fun question. Do you have any favorite phrases that you personally use all the time?
Oh, good one. I think I say that makes sense about 100 times a day.
Haha, I've heard you say that.
It's just so useful. You can use it in serious talks, casual chats, even in emails. It's my go-to phrase.
I love fair enough. It's such a polite way to say, I see your point, or okay, I'll accept that. It keeps the conversation smooth.
I think mine is let me think. I use it whenever I need a second to respond. It gives me time, and it sounds natural.
These little tools, phrases, pauses, reactions, they're all part of real conversation. And the best part is, anyone can learn them. You just need to hear them, try them, and keep using them.
The key is consistency. A little every day is better than a lot once a month. 5 minutes of real listening, a bit of repeating, a few new phrases. You'd be amazed how much you improve in just a few weeks.
And even if you feel stuck, just remember, you're not going backwards. Every bit of practice adds up.
There's no deadline, no finish line. English becomes part of your life, one moment at a time.
And we're here with you. You don't have to do it alone. You have this podcast, your own voice, and your own journey. Trust it.
Trust it, enjoy it, and don't be afraid to sound like yourself, even in English.